Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Adventurers Pack. Welcome on in to a very special, interesting, and different show. We're going to be doing some tech work tonight because we've been having some sound issues.
I do tech work all the time, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
In tech company. So.
That is right. Well, no, don't out yourself. Just
Not this kind of tech, though. And also not that kind of tech.
Well, one of the nice things, though, about this evening's show is that we actually get to see you all and hear you all. We don't get to do this on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, really quickly, hello there to Lister's Mate. Hello there to Zagmeister. Hey there, Milo.
Hey.
Also, Lachlan O'Leary and Nightbot being a robot. Excellent. So we are here on Twitch, and we are also on YouTube. This evening is going to be a little odd in that we're going to be working out some tech difficulties and really just dialing in our sound.
We'd be troubleshooting.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be troubleshooting. But we are going to be doing this in a way that we still get to see all of you all and have a fantastic time. And we're still going to be doing some nerdy world-building stuff.
Yeah.
We are, obviously, with Lachlan in the chat, you will note that our wonderful Ben is not here. Ben, we have lit a candle for you in your absence.
In remembrance of Ben, who is on the other side of the highway.
Exactly.
In LA, that's a long-distance friendship.
And then we also are going to be joined here shortly by our dear friend Z. They are just running a little bit behind, but that's totally okay because it doesn't matter on this show. Yeah, so what's going to be happening here in a bit, I'm going to start us off with this. However, I am also going to vanish at some point because I am working as our tech person. So I'm going to start some prompts. I'm going to start this with you all, show you the ropes of it, and then kind of hand it off to you so that you can have fun with it. And at that point, I'm going to mute my microphone, put on my headphones, and listen to the sound and see what we can't do.
Oh, God. Scott's listening to us?
Yeah. We'll see how that... yeah, I know. I'm going to vanish, Milo, but I'm still going to be here. It's going to be weird. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But also, in the chat, please feel free to sound off. Let us know how things are looking, how things are sounding, because this is super important. Also, I need to pop this up. Lachlan, I'm gonna get the get the workspace going so that we can have direct communication ready to go.
Private line.
Private line. But let me go ahead and tell you all what we're going to play with. So I'm going to open things up and say this is not a sponsored stream, although technically this is a sponsored stream. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You
continuing
want
word.
to do it, or do you want me to do it?
Well, we're going to be promoting some other stuff on this sponsored stream. But a big shout out to Cantrip Candles, the sponsor of Melos Machina, the show that is normally happening this evening. We do have one of their candles lit in the studio, which is definitely not a break, any sort of fire code issue.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
it's legitimately not.
Totally.
But we have their newest potion of flight, which I'm going to be honest, it's hit the top 3 for me of favorites immediately.
It's very delicate. It's really good.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so refreshing. In the first sniff, I was like, this is going to be a staple.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So.
So yeah, it's a fantastic candle. If you haven't picked one up already, highly recommend. You can head on over to the Cantrip Candles website. If you follow the link in our Nightbot, which you do have to copy and paste it, you can't just click the link because question marks confuse Nightbot. But if you follow that link, it is an affiliate link. We will get a little bit of a kickback from any purchases made by following that link. And also, if you use our code APAC,
Yes,
Yeah.
APAC.
use code APAC in checkout, you will get an additional discount. But with that being said, this stream is not sponsored by the company that we're going to be using their stuff tonight. I'm just a big fan of their work as a world builder, as a storyteller. So this is the Story Engine is the company. This is their main deck. They have a secondary deck as well called the Deck of Worlds. Comes in this box here, and they have a third one called the Lore Masters deck. We're not going to touch that one because it's incredibly complicated, but also fantastic.
We're not masters here yet.
No,
so.
we're not masters of lore at all. Hi.
I have changed social media.
But this is quite honestly the best tool that I have found for breaking writer's block. It gives you incredible prompts for the story engine is meant for prompts for writing.
Romps through the field.
Romps through the field.
Oh yes, I see where we're going tonight,
Well,
Scotty.
that's the deck of worlds. So the story engine deck is going to give you prompts for like characters and not characters that you're going to play, but really good ways of fleshing them out. Here is someone. Here's kind of their background, and here's what drives them. And immediately you have an incredible framework for a character, whether it's an NPC, a villain, or someone that you want to play. The story engine creates that, but both of these do it in such a way that you still have lots of room to fill it out yourself. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight, is filling out these prompts and having a conversation at the table about like, oh, what could these be?
I love these types of things.
The deck of worlds is about locations and creating locations, and you can do this in such a way that as you place one down and flesh that out, you can then do more and more, and by the end of it, you actually have a map on the table of where these things go. And then I have a bunch of expansions here that if we want to then dive into something very specific. So Deck of Worlds and Story Engine are generic enough that they can fit into any sort of setting. It is maybe a little bit geared towards fantasy, but not heavily. But then the expansions are going to give you things. So, for example, Deck of Worlds and expansion Worlds of Blight and Shadow are specifically horror-based.
Cool.
Worlds of Sand and Story are specifically for deserts and things like that. So you can really get a lot more specific as to the things that you're doing.
So how much is it like your world is a Mr. Potato Head, but instead of putting on a new nose, you're putting on a mountain?
A lot like that.
Sweet.
So honestly, I'm going to go ahead and get one of these started. So actually, I want to ask you all, do you want to make a character or do you want to make a location?
Not gonna lie, the map sounds cool, but if it's better to start with character, we could always shift there.
Yeah, honestly, there's no better or worse place to start.
Can we start with an
I have no
object?
preference.
Like, is there like any like thing?
So this is
about,
where
like.
This is where the Lore Masters deck comes in.
Oh, okay.
And I can
Well,
go
we're
back
not
and
there.
grab that box.
No, yeah.
Full disclaimer, I own every product this company's made. But so the Lore Masters deck then lets you create objects, like minerals,
Whoa.
deities, full religions. It is basically, this is make people, make places, and then the Lore Master is make everything else.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
So, Emmy, what are you thinking? Oh, social media person.
Yeah, my apologies.
How dare
Clicking.
you?
I feel like starting with a place
Starting with a
personally,
place?
because
Then we can populate it.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at personally.
Cool.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm down for that.
So, let me go ahead and. Right, this isn't touchscreen.
Grab a notebook just
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
See if we need any type of.
Let's just make. Can you mix all the cards together in a set? So yes and no. You can mix all of the expansions together. So I could take all of the Deck of Worlds expansions and put them in, and just have one massive Deck of Worlds. You can also take the expansions if you want to do something very specific to that location, and just use this expansion for it. It won't be as fleshed out, but it will be hyper focused. But you can't mix and match Story Engine with the Deck of Worlds. There are, however, additional expansions that let you create bridges, where you can then bridge Deck of Worlds and Story Engine, Lore Masters deck, Deck of Worlds.
Yeah.
They have done an excellent job, and they make a bunch of products to like store all of it because it is a lot of cards.
They're also
Once
like
again-
really nice and chill.
Once again, this is not a sponsored. I just really like this. Okay. Hey, Zarby incoming.
Zarby.
Hey.
Is the let me go. Make sure it's already pinged it in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're good.
We're good. Zarby can
Yeah.
get in. Yay.
Also, Spoonkins, great to see you. Dragon Dad, so good to see you. I forget if I said hi to Zagmeister yet or not.
Hi,
but
Zag.
hello.
Hello again. In any case.
All right. So, the way that this deck works, let me pop this up so that the audience can see everything. Also, boop. Nope, that doesn't work.
Real quick, I have one tech thing I need to take care of.
You're
Please
good,
keep
Emmy.
talking. I know how these
We have
work.
a lot of tech things to take care of.
Yes.
So.
All right. So, starts off. We've got regions. Oh, that is a horrible video. I'll fix that. Regions, landmarks, namesakes, origins, attributes, and advents. The trick is really going to be doing this once I am no longer a part of it and reaching across. But honestly, I have it a little bit that the audience can see, but then I can hand this off to you all and kind of do what you need with
Absolutely.
it. All right. Hey, audience, don't mind the tech on this tech stream. God, it's been such a long time since I've had to do this. Because, RJ, what were you saying? It's been how many months since we had combat?
6.
6 months. 3 days in game, but.
Oh my gosh!
Yep. Yeah, we've done a lot of social encounters.
Yeah, and a lot of infiltration that could have turned into combat. We're just really good.
Yeah, no, I was looking back through previous episodes for like specifically like what Aaron saw in the catacombs of the Flow Forge, and I was like, oh, that was right before the New Year.
Yeah, I know
That episode.
I know that because we had to take some time off because Scott lit Venture on fire and then LA caught on fire.
Yeah.
so
So
that
I
was
was
in
just like,
January.
yeah.
That is
so
part of why we
it's-
haven't had combat in
Yeah.
such a long time. Is there's been a lot of
some
life
downtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
that has happened in between some certain episodes. So.
Well, I think appropriately as well, our characters are feeling kind of risk averse after after all of the shit that went down unexpectedly to them.
Absolutely.
So the in-game trauma is definitely demonstrating in our thing. But anyway, we're here to build another world.
Yeah.
I mean, we can. Oh, but yes.
So the thing is, I discovered all of this after all of the work that I had done on Melos. So I have yet to use any of this in my world crafting.
Well, you can just say Melos is completely original, and this is just a fun exercise.
I will say though, I have used it as like I said, a way to get rid of writer's block. Where
Yeah.
every time that I've shown this to somebody, it unlocks floodgates that I hadn't even realized were there, and I just get in a creative mood.
Totally.
And again, this is great for if you are a DM and you are wanting to make worlds. If you are an author and you're just writing books, and anything creative, it's just also a fun creative exercise.
That's mostly what I think I like about it as a tool. Is that a lot of these
Hello, Z.
There you go.
a lot of the tools that are like this have a tendency to, whenever I've used them, I feel like I'm being told what to write, and I'm like, I don't want to just be handed a series of like, well, what if it was X, Y, and Z noun on top of X, Y, and Z noun? I'm like, well, that's cool, but I don't need that. That's not my problem right
At
now.
that point, it's just generative AI. Like, there's still
Basically.
creativity here, right? Like, and there's nothing more intimidating on a blank page. So just having some pieces to like move around that page is all.
Yeah.
It takes sometimes to get the juices flowing, even if you throw out those pieces.
Juices.
Juices.
So we get to start with any one of these decks.
So we start with the region. So let me go ahead. I'm going to get some music going on.
We can
Okay.
build a world.
It's a writing tool, so basically we draw cards and then we just kind of go with
Yeah.
it's a creative session. There's
Yeah.
nothing
So we're
really
just hanging out.
playing.
We're having a good time. Jeez, that's
We're
loud.
just hanging out, guys.
And then when
Yeah.
we're done, Scott's gonna burn it to the ground.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he does with things. He builds.
Burn our world.
He burns them.
Great.
Here's a Bob's Burgers quote from an episode, which is, "If you love something, set it on fire."
Words to live by, apparently.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start you off on this one, and then once I get to a place where y'all can just talk about it and figure out whatever you would like, I'm going to vanish.
All right.
Audibly, at least. So, with the region, it looks like we are going to be, it's going to be a mountain or mountains.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And from here, we're going to pick a landmark. So this is something within the mountain. Let me make sure I've shuffled these. So something within the mountains.
In case we memorized what
Yeah,
you
just in
last
case.
said.
Yeah, see.
Well, in case it's the last thing that I made. So with these, you have two options. So it's not just this is what it's going to be. It still gives you agency.
I see.
So right now you have your choice of a village in the mountains or a spire in the mountains.
I see.
So
I
what do we
think. Ooh, I think we should go with village personally, and I'll tell you why. Because we were talking right before you got here about how
Yeah.
eventually we do want to write some characters for this. So
maybe this is where they'll live.
a village could be where they live.
Yes.
Populate.
Okay. So we have a village in the mountains And now we're going to
Could
grab
also
a
live in
namesake.
fire.
The namesake
Alone.
can go to either the village or the mountain, and it gives you 4 options. So we have of fools, roaming, that knows, and of glass. So mountains of glass, village of glass, roaming mountains,
Gotcha.
roaming village.
Any one of those can be associated with either cards.
Exactly.
So far, so.
There's something very spooky about a village that knows. What do they know?
So, the village that knows.
Uh-oh.
Why'd you do that?
And now we're going to grab
I
an
was just pointing it out.
I
didn't think that
know.
would be a choice.
Well,
Nah,
it's too
I'm
late.
in it. I'm in it.
And now we're going to grab the origin. So this is how it came to be. And again, this could be either the mountains or the village, whichever makes more sense. And again, 4 options. So we have was created to protect an important relic, a site of a terrible massacre,
That is the
That's
village
what they
that knows.
originally in a different location, and subject of a civil war.
I mean, it has to be massacre, right? That's the direction we're going
I think
in
it has to
now.
be.
All right.
I think that's where we're
Because
at.
that's what they know.
So we have the village that knows that was the site of a horrible massacre.
Yeah.
Now we get to take an attribute card. So the attribute card is going to give us something special about the location. And again, 4 options. Most of these have 4 options. It has a busy nightlife.
Not these days.
Murdering nightlife.
It is a source of natural dyes.
Wait, like DI.
No.
DY.
It's from all the blood.
Yeah.
Habitat of a subterranean creature,
Oh.
Sick. I like that one.
or a prized source of meat.
Oh,
Subterranean
that's a whole different.
Yeah,
First
that's,
source of meat,
that's
it sure
Sweeney
is,
Todd's
because everybody
Yeah.
did.
They know how good it tastes.
I like the mountains with the subterranean beast.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
The attribute, again, can go to either the mountain or the
Ooh,
village.
okay.
So if the mountains...
Oh, it lives in the village, and they
Ah.
the big Oh, I won't go too far. Sorry,
So,
I'm getting too excited.
the mountains, which is a habitat of a subterranean creature that has the village that knows, which was the site of a terrible massacre. Now, if we want to get more complicated, we can add additional attribute cards. You can keep pulling more and more attribute cards if you wanted to expand upon that. But for now, let's go ahead and we'll
You've
grab
done enough.
the advent
Or
card.
the subterranean creature certainly has.
So now we're going to grab the advent. This is something that is currently happening here. Famine has struck and is getting worse due to price gouging, panic buying, or food riots. Or a secret society is said to be gathering for an election, emergency meeting, or grand ritual.
They know.
Secret society.
know.
I
They
mean,
know.
All right. So,
this is
I
easy.
mean, we're going human sacrifice, yes?
with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and silence my microphone
Okay.
and let you all populate this however you would like.
Okay, here. Oh man.
So we start a new location adjacent, or move into people now, I guess. Is
I
it
think that at this point, I think we also need to talk about
this village.
this village
And
and
what
these
they know.
mountains
Yeah.
and what they know.
Yeah.
Okay, so right, we needed a dime. There's a to fix microphones you use dimes sometimes. Okay, so it's a tech stream. This is now an educational show.
Everything's fine.
Okay. Site of a terrible massacre. I think that there was someone. Ooh, okay. So the question becomes: did the village do the massacring, or were they massacred? And I'm inclined to think if it's the village that knows, it's that someone came to like try and take over the village, and they just like wiped them out.
Ooh, like dark past, dark history, but
Yeah.
like you don't.
I
you
mean,
don't
if
mess
they
with this.
wiped them out, then they fed them to the subterranean creature.
Ooh.
Because in my head, my brain is the village that knows is they know that they have a beast that they serve.
Yeah, I
They
think
serve invaders too.
Yeah. I mean, they could, or if not invaders, then they have to start going with it.
Yeah, I mean, I
themselves.
think there is the beast has some sort of insatiable hunger
Yep.
that needs to be fed in order to keep it subdued in some way, and eventually the village, in trying to satiate its hunger, the hunger grew so much that they actually had to like abduct an entire neighboring village, and that's the massacre that.
What if it
occurred.
was less than abduction? I like where your head's at, where they got to get like this beast fed, but like my head kind of goes to two completely different pop culture references. Let's
Yeah.
see if this resonates. Lord
might
of the Rings, Mines of Moria,
Yeah.
meets Hot Fuzz, the Simon Pegg movie. Now hear me out, because in the Simon Pegg movie, that's a small British town, and they are all in on this. The entire town is in on this
Yeah.
thing, and any outsider that comes in, they just like play along, but then they sacrifice the outsider to the Balrog because they know not to go mining down in the Mines of Moria. Something along those lines is
But
where my head
I
went.
also think that. Oh, here you've been trying to say.
No,
okay, I got
sorry. In that vein, my brain is going fully sick and twisted. Is the reason that this is the town that knows. Nobody knows that they're the town that knows. That's like a secret within themselves.
Yeah.
Or the village that knows. So they're this gets complicated. Part of me wants to go, they're a tourist site, or they're promoting themselves as a tourist site, as a beautiful village. They make it's like Uncanny Valley. Like, they're all so nice. And odds are you're going to get fed to the subterranean creature.
I think
at
what
some
they
point.
know is where the creature came from.
Ooh.
But then why do people call it the village that knows?
Right.
Like, I think for me, I love all these ideas. I'm not saying no. I'm saying, but then
Fair,
people
it's
would
fair.
have to know that they know.
Yeah.
But they also know that they don't know where the creature is. Massacre also implies like one large event as opposed to
Right.
many.
That's
No,
why
no,
I think
yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why earlier I was trying to build towards like that.
Right, like a
the-
neighboring town.
Yeah, the bubble finally burst with the massacre, and what
Yeah.
what led to that? What was the building set of circumstances and consequences that led to the massacre?
And
Was-
I think that I love the idea of the beast having an insatiable hunger, and I love the idea that occasionally they like feed it an outsider or a troublemaker, but then at one point I do think that someone, not necessarily like a big army, but somebody very powerful came
Yeah.
to try and take a resource they have, and then they just
Well, 'cause,
they
like,
know that
if we're we have all these threads and possibilities, and I love this stage of world building where we try and tie it all together by different points of inspiration. So like when I said like the beast has an insatiable hunger, it don't necessarily mean like blood or flesh or like consumption. What if it is? It feeds on fear. It feeds on hope. It feeds on people's memories. It feeds on people's happiness, so on and stuff like that. So those options do exist in this part of our discussion. So we can pick and choose whatever we want, but wherever we go from there might help answer some of these questions that are popping up. So like, is it a
What-
massacre of actual physical bloodshed, or is it a
What if
massacre?
it was a massacre of intelligence or knowledge? Like, what if, like, in the vein of where you're taking this monster, that maybe it feeds on, the hope of the society around it, and so, if this is less of a dark mission that the village upholds, but like more of a noble one, if they're the ones holding all of the world's fear and knowledge, so that the surrounding society can be ignorant. That's like flipping this all on its head, but they're kind of like the only thing keeping this monster in check at their own misery.
So they're martyrs. They're a village full of martyrs.
In a way, or they're like they're the gatekeepers. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that
I
works.
think
but
that's got some legs. I
Yeah,
like
maybe.
the idea that maybe
interesting.
the monster doesn't eat in a traditional sense. I mean, there's any number of monsters in lore, and I mean, hell, in Dungeons and Dragons and in other RPGs that feed on hope, that feed on fear, that feed on your memories, that feed on all kinds of things. And so it's not just the knowledge of where the monster is, it's the knowledge of what the monster needs and what could happen if it gets out.
Yeah.
And maybe, I know we've been looking at that terrible mascot, like the village people, not the band. The people,
Village
Boy.
people come to the town that. or
I mean, look, the
village
village
that
people
knows.
knew. They did.
They did.
But the people of the village, that they brought ruin upon somebody else, which I still think is good.
I have a suggestion. Is maybe with either a name for our mountain range or with another connecting location, we'd have some more context to like build from, like a relationship.
We're getting a little stuck. We
Yeah.
could use some more data, and this
Yeah.
is what the Deck of Worlds is for.
Look at that.
Hey.
So actually, wow, that was a weird feedback. So really quick, I know I've been chatting with some folks, but so far things are sounding nice. Would love to, you all in the audience, let us know what you were thinking, because obviously this is for you. But this next one, after I make it, why don't we have this early conversation as if this is a secret that's going on? Because so far our regular talking, I know secrets. Oh,
I got it. Yeah.
We talk about secrets.
I know, and y'all, y'all tend to get. There's a lot of secrets going on in Melos.
You know, I remember early on, I was like, "You've built a kind of mysterious game," and Scott was like, "No," and I was like, "Yes, you have." And now I'm realizing he was just trying to throw me off the thread.
No.
That
sounded genuine.
mysterious.
Um,
Builds mysterious game.
Mysterious.
all right.
Mysterious.
I'm kind of I'm listing out like Mad Lib bullet points of things, of questions that we're leaving open to
Cool.
be solved later. So
Okay.
far I have, there's a beast below the mountain that feeds on blank, is guarded by villagers, who eventually there was a massacre of blank.
Blank.
So
We also didn't really get to the secret society, so that's a thread to come back to.
Right, and we've got to be talking about
Oh, yeah.
Secrets.
Like actually
I
whispering
mean,
or more just like.
we don't really whisper. It's just
Yeah, I think it's
sometimes
more
we
this
get to
subdued.
this level.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I can talk in Finn's accent as well, because I think sometimes that
So do we need
informs it.
a landmark card next?
Well, we have a region,
Or a
so if we want
namesake
another
card?
landmark in the region, or I think that might be better.
I think a namesake for the
A namesake for the
mountain.
mountain?
Yeah,
It
for
might
the
tell us more
mountains.
about the
Okay.
monster that lives in it.
All right, so we've got the Bitter Mountains, the Mountains of Last Chances,
Ooh.
the Mountains of Paper, or the Mountains Without Gates.
Interesting.
Paper and without. All right, secrets. Okay, I guess I'll talk into what these rules because it also helps if we're
Yeah,
working in
you're all good.
places.
You don't have to be secrets anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
In that case, I would say, I think of last chances are
Last
better.
Chances sounds really epic.
I know.
That sounds pretty
Mountains
damn
of
cool.
last
Yeah.
chances, where the village that knows.
What happens when you run out
within.
of chances?
Yeah.
The
Josh,
only the village knows.
Would you hand me the? Oh yeah. Well, actually, we're gonna use this, and honestly, I think we're gonna do this on one of y'all's.
I can do mine if you just want to mute me so it's not all ruffly.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Or I can just. You want to
You're
dismount
muted.
this one, or you want to just plug in?
You can just plug it right in. You are muted. I don't know how much extra play space you have with your.
I
Oh, with the wire.
I do not want to pull that.
No, you definitely
You
don't.
mean
Yeah,
you don't want to
it
start
might-
pulling on the ceiling?
No. No. Yes. Well, I mean, this isn't going to actually help us test it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Since we're now an educational show here as well, this place
Wires.
is full of wires.
full of wires.
Is the secret of the tavern
Yeah.
is that it is populated almost entirely by
Lots
wires.
of wires.
In the namesake card in Deck of Worlds for the tavern,
Tavern of
Tavern of
Wires.
Wires. That's what it is in here. So just Tavern of Wires. Oh.
I'm so scared.
Okay. Oh.
Luckily, this one's not all twisted in, so hopefully.
Yeah, I tried to. You should be able to pull now.
Scott's pretty neat when he wired this.
Holy moly.
There we go.
That is all the slack we need.
Wow. We did it.
Obviously, if
Yay.
we move to these, Scott, cable management becomes a different solution.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And then it goes
if
under,
we move to
isn't
those,
it?
cable management becomes a lot,
Lot
easier
easier.
because
Yeah.
Doesn't
They
run
the
could-
through our
cables
ceiling.
have to be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
All right, let's unmute you. All right.
All right. Well, now I get the hot mic, so. What did we decide? Mountains of Last
Mountain of
Chances?
Last
Mountains of Last
Yeah.
Okay.
Chances.
Do we want another landmark
I
to relate to?
I think actually
Or another
throwing a chunk
region.
of like an origin onto
Ooh.
the mountains as well, because again, I feel like we're getting stuck on that monster,
Okay.
and I kind of want to add.
Will you do the honors, Steve, this time?
Okay. The birthplace of a legendary prophet.
Well, what do prophets do? They know things.
Oh,
Just
they
saying.
do know things. Former training ground. Site of a famous negotiation.
It was a massacre. I think.
Created to avoid war. A lot of these are really
Well,
good.
that
Ooh, I like that last
fits kinda-
one.
I mean, the beast was housed here to avoid a war. Is that what we're looking
maybe
at?
that the beast was essentially designed as kind of like the magical monster version of a nuclear deterrent.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
There's
the
a big
mutually
monster
assured.
there. You can't if
Mhm.
we let them. If war happens, monster gets out, or if they go over the mountains, they're gonna hit that monster, and then it's gonna be bad.
But okay, so here's the interesting thing to think about is the mountain was created, so this is a man-made mountain to house this monster.
Well, if
Is
it's
that
a
what we're
if it's a
talking about?
cage,
Right.
like if the mountain is being used as a cage, the function of the mountain, the cage itself, could have been created.
Josh.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag you in.
Okay.
I think we have found our solution.
This?
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that dramatic? Okay.
Well, the mountain could be made by something other than man. If we're talking about the
That's
world of
true. I'm just
fantasy,
saying-
like, this could be a god.
Right,
mountain.
created is an
Yeah.
interesting word.
Yeah.
Ooh, a god made the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not
Or-
a natural formation. The Gauntlet was like, oh, this needs to be here for this exact reason.
Yeah.
The god
Um,
made the mountain.
A powerful demigod, demiplane being. In my world, it would be a dragon.
Do you like dragons?
Why is there no dragon yet?
I mean,
Hi, dragon!
You dragon.
the existence of okay, I know we weren't going to talk about mouse too much. We're going
Yeah.
to play Deck of Worlds, but I'm just going to pause this right now to posit that the existence of a
One
dragonborn
of the others. Let's try one of the
inherently
others.
Yes.
means that there are dragons.
Yes.
I have been thinking
So
about
let's try
this the
what?
entire time.
I think
Yes.
we'll be able to verify more on Emmy
Wathi
or
can't-
Z.
Wathi doesn't know what any of
Because
those
you sound
things-
great,
Mhm.
but you also have that in general.
That is fair.
You know,
Um,
you guys usually sound great, just quiet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm also usually quiet, so if I sound great, that's a good sign. Don't have enough.
I'll just move. We can trade
Yeah,
seats.
just trade
You and I
seats.
are
Oh,
about
it's
the
making it so much easier.
You and I are about the same height, Scott.
Oh,
It's fine.
why think with logic
We're
and not
playing musical chairs.
swapsies? No,
God.
Freaky Friday.
Oh, no. Which honestly could have had the
Now-
exact same.
Of course, the big problem here is, of course,
Yes, the footprint. I pointed it out. We actually, so Emmy, slide it a little bit this way, so it's not just
Give
like
this a
in
whirl.
between your face and the camera.
how's that?
That's good. That's about the same distance,
The
not
same-
too
same
off
distance?
axis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we also, I know we have other microphones now that we have the condensers. Would those microphones work better?
No, I think these.
Okay. It's my job to posit possibilities, not
It
necessarily.
is your job to question everything because you
Question
have no idea what's going
Everything.
That's
Right
true.
back to
It is
Melos.
Wednesday night and I don't know anything.
on. Emmy, this is a snowman.
I'm just as likely to believe that's a snowman as anything else.
Their noses pick up sound.
It's pretty nice. I did have a thought to add to all of this, and
yeah.
that is the creation of this place, regardless of it is God or man or what, to keep the monster in. If the village knows how to keep it in, and without this village, it gets out, like that great massacre that happened so long ago. The secret society that's forming is people who want to, like, be part of that knowledge, as just a pitch, but somewhere
like
along those
that.
lines.
Yeah, I'm vibing on that.
I'm vibing. Hold on one sec. I know I'm the one trying to test the microphone. Hold on.
You're good. You're good.
So the Mountain of Last Chances. This is sometime long ago. Whoever made the mountain, this was the last chance to house this terrible beast, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
Maybe before this mountain, there was a long history of attempts to subdue or to contain this awful thing, and this was the last one that worked.
Or was it the last chance to avoid, like, the creation of this monster was so extreme, and the creation of the mountains to keep this monster in, it was such an extreme thing to decide to do, that this was the last opportunity, the last chance. And it's also the last, no, I think I liked your way better, because then you could talk about it being the last chance to turn around.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's your last chance to
So
turn
there
around.
definitely was a great cost to
Yeah.
this mountain range being the solution.
What if
Yeah.
back to the ignorance and knowledge thing is
Okay.
once you know, you can't not know anymore. So like, what if like this secret that once you come to this village, like you find out, like now you're part of that. There is no going back.
Ooh, like that. Once you know, you can't unknow it. This is your last chance to live in ignorance of the fact that there's a monster like this in this world, and the existence of a monster like this is so horrific that
So
the
wait.
knowledge will change you.
But then,
So
there's- we're still kind of. But then we still okay. If we're working on that,
Yeah.
are people seeking out this on purpose, or are they stumbling across this village on accident? Because we have to
What
answer
if-
both questions. What
I think
happens
there
when
has to
somebody
be
unknowingly comes
yeah.
here? What happens if somebody comes here seeking this?
I think there has to be something valuable
Well,
in this area because there
obviously-
was a war.
This
Oh, yeah.
group, whoever this group is,
The secret
it-
society.
the secret society, I would imagine, has come to seek it.
Yeah.
We brought up the like, do other people know the name, the village that knows? So what if everybody knows that there's something there,
that's right.
but they don't go because they know that they don't want to know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But also with that choice of like your last chance to turn back, it's not the minds of Moria, it's the minds of Morpheus. Sorry, couldn't help it.
It's not
go sit back down.
Friday. It's not Friday night. Oh my gosh.
I'm in the
Okay.
I'm in the DM seat now.
No,
I mean
it's-
this is sounding good, Scott. I mean,
It's the minds of Orpheus.
don't
This is last
don't worry about what
chance to not turn around.
Don't you fucking turn around, Orpheus.
Turn around, Brandeis.
That's what we do.
I mean that's the recommended best practice. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Also
That's how close you want to be.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute that so you can pop it back in, so we can just hang out now.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, Five is muted.
Any compression or limiter tests we need to do, or
I
this
think
We've done
pretty
it.
much-
The compression tests are done. We know what we're going to be rolling with on that.
So the solution. Hi everyone. We're going to be taking the microphones from the ceiling and putting them on the table. There are going to be some ways for us to deal with the footprint. We still have these articulating arms, so the stand can be a little bit farther away while the microphone is still pushed
Just don't
towards
wanna
us.
block it.
Yeah, so that's
as it is. I can show you.
Oh, yeah.
They don't
here.
block.
I actually have it pulled up.
Stagger,
Yeah.
Let me see.
essentially. And as long as they're all on the same side of us, they won't block
Hello.
our faces. They'll be just off axis. We'll still have our little bit impacted play space, but you know, if it's a
Figure it
choice
out.
between that audio or less room for dice, I'll take less room for
We'll
sure.
figure it out. We'll,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of this is, I know. As much as I know we're going to be testing some of this on camera, some of, like, the where is it going to land is going to be off camera. Because otherwise, that'd be boring.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to first. Got to find it. There we go. pivot slightly from this. So we've got this location,
Mhm.
but I do think it would be interesting to have a character or two for you.
Sure.
Totally.
And I could start with the base deck of worlds, but I do want to start with an expansion.
Yeah.
You got one, Fitz?
Well, I've got one for a very dear friend.
Oh.
It is written in Dragonfire.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
All right. Let's see where this goes.
Really quick while we're doing that.
Yeah.
I know that we're live and stuff, so obviously I don't want to go too deep. But
Yeah, it's a text stream.
Did we get a compression filter set in there just that way when we do
Yeah, it's running.
inevitably Raiders?
It is
It's running?
and it
Okay,
it happened while y'all were
awesome.
loud.
Woohoo.
Yeah, we'll be able to shout at the Raiders again. Gauntlet, y'all.
So I'm not gonna. So
doing
the other
real
nice
fast
thing about this
here.
is with cleanup, right here I've got the whole thing that you've made, and it's still just layered as to how it needs to be.
Sweet,
So
nice.
now if you're writing something, you can just do that, and now it's set aside, but you still have everything that you've made.
Pretty cool.
So we're gonna go ahead.
I'm
Right.
proud of what we
Bye, village that knows.
No, it's still right there. We just like folded,
See you
folded in so that we can
later.
zoom
Can
out.
we decide on what
that.
the beast feeds on before we pick
Ooh,
up some characters, just so we have a little bit clearer
I
idea
feel like
of,
it's
like
gotta
what-
feed on joy of some kind.
I like that emotion, like some like the hope or the joy or
Yeah.
the,
I feel like it's got
ambition.
to.
Let's do hope.
I like hope.
Yeah, I feel like hope is more nuanced because
It's also a
if
classic.
it's joy,
Yeah.
I feel like you're going into a place full of like automatons.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Cool. Feeds on hope.
Yeah.
It's also a very classic
Yeah.
storytelling
What's
trope that we
the?
can lead on.
I can't believe I can't remember right now because it's one of my favorite monsters. But in D&D, there's the one that like eats your memories. of who you are.
There's a few
I think it
actually
might be
that
a
do
homebrew
that.
monster, but
There's the.
Are you talking about the false hydra?
that's it.
It
False
is.
Hydra,
It
yes.
is. It is not an official monster.
That's kind of where my head was going, but I like differentiating with hope
Yeah.
instead of just like you're in.
The
Yeah.
false hydra is
Identity.
for
Horrifying.
anyone who doesn't necessarily know what it is, but has seen Doctor Who, which is a real niche crowd. So if you don't know what the false hydra is and you've seen Doctor Who, it's the silence. It's a monster that you can't remember that it exists unless you are looking directly at it, and otherwise, if you turn around, what false hydra? Never has been one.
And I think if it like gobbles up a loved one, you actually forget that loved one.
I believe that is
existed,
correct.
too.
It's a titanic pain in the patoot as far as monsters
yes,
go, is what it is.
Very punishing, also just kind of horrifying of a concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Doctor Who episode did
Yeah, they
very
did.
well.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
y'all. So the way that this one works, you have your agent, you have an engine, you have an anchor, you have a conflict, and you have an aspect. The agent is the base of the person. The engine is what is driving them, essentially. The anchor, though, is something that they are connected to. Conflict, self-explanatory, and the aspect is a little extra flavor on top of that. So, and this is specifically the Written in Dragonfire expansion. So this is there's a lot of base stuff in there, but this is deals with dragons, dragon folk, dragon kind, anything dealing with dragons. So the agent for this, you get 4 options:
Ooh.
Okay.
a druid, a blacksmith, a seer, or a barbarian.
I want to see her.
I think the seer makes a lot.
Let's
of
all take
sense
one of
for-
each and just go from there. I don't want to say no to any of
I know
them.
those are all though.
If the seer is like what's helping them know, that could work.
The
like that.
engine wants to claim a hidden artifact of, and for this, it then has you attach another thing to it. So it wants to claim the hidden artifact of blank,
Okay.
or wants to foil a scheme of or involving blank. So wants to claim the hidden artifact of something, or wants to foil a scheme of or involving something.
I feel like this.
And here's the
I've
other
talked a
thing
lot.
that I didn't bring up the last time. Again, this is just writing prompts. So if of these 2 options, like, I'm not really feeling any of them, draw another
Draw
card.
another
Yeah.
one.
I would humor at least the second one. The
Yeah.
Foiling a scheme.
Yeah, because we got a secret society.
Yeah,
going
so
on.
maybe
We've got
they're
this, like,
coming
maybe
to-
noble cause, maybe
yes,
dark cause.
or
We're not
right.
really sure. Like,
Mhm.
and if the
Yeah.
seer is actually like the inside man of this all, or woman of this
Yeah.
all, that could be an interesting angle to take.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's a
Alright,
good way to go.
Wants to
That was
foil
the way
the
I was
scheme
getting at.
of
But we have to fill in
Someone.
the blank.
We can.
So
Someone of
does
some
it give
sort.
you any direction in how you fill that in?
So this
or-
is where you can. You have a lot of options. You could draw another agent card to give you another person. So let's hold off on that actually for a moment because we know what they want to do, but let's leave that detail. Because their anchor card is something that they are specifically connected to. A summit, a keep, a harp, or an inn.
I mean, a summit.
Yeah,
in
a
the
summit
mountains
makes sense.
Does make sense.
Makes really good sense. But why that summit?
Yeah.
Like,
Only the village knows.
I mean, heck, this person who is anchored to this but doesn't know why, but the village knows, now suddenly there's the draw for them.
there we go.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we're gonna-
What if the seer is the only person who's ever like known what they know from the outside?
Mm.
Has to,
Oh,
like-
because they
They have that. They have that ability to pierce the veil of.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out what conflict this person has going on. Now, also, to be very clear, you're taking this and rolling, which is the whole point of this. You could decide, you know what, we know the conflict already.
Yeah.
But for the sake of this experiment,
This conflict
let's
could
take
also
a look
help
at
us
it.
answer the massacre. It doesn't have to be
Yeah, we
current.
still have not gotten a full answer
Yeah.
for that.
so their conflict is essentially the thing they want to do, but.
Mhm.
So they want to foil a scheme of or involving, and this could also be you could put the summit there, of or involving summit, of or involving an inn, any of those anchors as well.
Okay.
But they will have to act against their religion, but it will cause a cataclysm.
Oh, both of those are so good. They both fit.
They both fit, but I feel like the second one because the monster is a world eater, and if they mess this up,
And he wants to foil.
But it's
this
not if they mess it up;
scheme.
it's if they do it.
If they accomplish.
oh,
That's-
That's the
accomplish-
conflict.
I still think that's good though, because
If
then
he
the monster
foils
might
the
get out.
scheme of like they're keeping this thing here. They think they're doing it for a reason. He knows he needs to foil them because maybe it's a false reason, but in doing so, it will cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the cycle resets, which is
Could-
a very
could-
interesting.
Could we retcon the massacre and that is like kind of the this moment?
Or maybe it's that the last time someone like this tried
That
to
it was
stop
a
the secret
massacre,
society,
yeah.
there was a massacre because this monster got out.
Or it's just this cycle of finding hope, of losing hope, and then like your hope turns into a mess.
And this could also be doesn't have to be a character of the present. This could be a character
Yeah.
from the past
True.
who
Yeah.
all of this history of the massacre. This
That's
is
true.
the person.
I
This
think
could be
that's.
the-
Personally, I like the
story.
parallel of it being the same story happening again. Of like, it kind of reminds me of Melos in a lot of ways. Of like, they had all the knowledge, all the power in the world. It kind of backfired. They locked that away, and now like it's spreading again. And that's something society learns a lesson. We get comfortable, and then we forget that lesson. Could be interesting.
So now we're gonna have an aspect for them. Courageous, adamantine, necrotic, or sundered. And this can be attached to pretty much anything that's on the table.
Like your knuckles, if it's adamantine, like Wolverine.
Could be. Maybe
No,
lost his hands and they were replaced with.
Scott, you don't have to
metallic.
humor.
Listen, but that's the joy of this thing. You can
Yeah.
humor absolutely anything and everything.
Read them again. Could you?
Sundered, courageous, adamantine, necrotic. And I can also pull another one.
I wouldn't mind hearing another one.
Yeah,
Nothing's really
nothing's
jiving just
singing.
yet,
It's like
but
we could sorry, we
I-
could go necrotic in the sense of he's a death, or they are a death bringer.
Mm-hmm.
But
now
yeah,
we're
I'd
right
like to
back
hear
Melos
others.
again.
I think
know.
there's some stuff here you might like.
Okay.
Undead, halfling, brazen, ever burning,
What if it's like courageous yet brazen? Like there's something courageous about like trying to do something good for the world that will immediately hurt you, but like it's very brazen to think you can be the person to do that.
But what if they were undead and that's how they have this knowledge? Is that they died and have come back?
It's literally the same person.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Oh.
That's really interesting.
So they're on a somehow they've gotten a second chance at accomplishing what they
Or-
set out to do.
But then they wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily be a seer.
Well, unless they don't know it's the same person.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
what I'm
past life
thinking.
kind of thing, and their
Right.
visions of
Ooh.
the past
That's
are
what I'm
forming
thinking.
now, and they have to like find out that they are undead as part of this process.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sweet.
I think this is
This is
also
awesome.
an excellent example of how you can use that prompt, but it's not exactly like it's not
Yeah.
the obvious answer. You can take it and run with it a little bit.
This is very cool.
It's fun, right?
I feel like we are coming up with a villain.
Yeah.
A little bit, an
A
unknowing
villain-
one.
Yeah, a villain
Yeah.
to the party.
I'm seeing like a Oppenheimer kind of thing here of like
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
it was a noble cause that then ended up not being such a noble thing for
A lot of
you know
people.
like
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
you're,
but there's
you're
this
not
feeling
wrong.
of like we have to do it or somebody else will, and like if we can be more careful with it. I'm not saying that like that's what this is, but like that's kind of the vibe I'm
It's the
getting.
vibe.
Of
Yeah, no.
Maybe it is villainous, but maybe it's a confliction because it's like
Sure.
actually, with good intent.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
since this is a text stream, I am looking at our streaming and I'm realizing that on the battle cam, this camera is smooshed, so we have a lot of field on this side and not a lot on that side. So can we adjust it while we're doing text stream?
Yes, that is something actually. It's going to take a lot more to do.
Ah.
We have solved the issue for this text stream.
Yeah, let's not open up more issues.
yeah.
Just-
I mean,
just,
that's
yeah.
why we're having text stream though.
There
Okay,
are
we'll
other
fix
things
that later.
to talk about
Yeah.
camera-wise, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot camera wise. Today was audio only.
Well, we'll figure it out later.
So does this help us solve the question of the massacre?
I
Yes,
think it,
not yet.
it
I think
helps
it's
need to explore
towards
more.
it. We still need to establish exactly
Yeah.
how
Okay.
that happened though.
But,
like,
like-
in the neighborhood.
I think it helps us answer that the village that knows like is the potentially the like thing holding that massacre back for a second time or from happening again. Because if this guy's successful, it will unleash a cataclysm. Right.
Okay.
So
So who are they trying to foil the schemes of? Do we want to go down that rabbit hole?
I was assuming it was the secret
The
society.
secret society.
Okay.
I have my vision for this, but if anybody else wants to pitch before I jump in.
My guess is the secret society.
Yeah,
that's
I just
keeping
feel
the
like it-
monster in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fits better.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
if it's a secret society that they believe that they are doing the right thing, but it's actually like, exacerbating a problem or just delaying a problem, and this guy's gonna come in to foil that society's goal because he knows it's exacerbating the problem, and yet it will be at the village's expense if he's successful.
Okay.
I could also, for prompting purposes, draw another agent card and see if there's anything there that drawing it doesn't mean it has to be played, but it could
you
get some juices flowing.
Draw it so maybe we can talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about the secret society.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
fill in like who that person,
Yeah, that's
who
kind of
their
where I
leader
was
is or
thinking we
something.
need to go.
Because if this guy's not the leader of the town, of the
Hmm.
village, at large,
Right.
right?
Yeah, this is.
This
No,
is
this is an outsider.
Yeah.
so if this was who the scheme was to be foiled. Interesting options here. A ranger,
Oh.
a beggar, a bandit, and a kennel master.
Yep.
We can have
Ooh,
some.
but a kennel master.
Okay. Oh.
What about-
Okay.
That's like
What
a
about?
keeper of a that's a
yeah.
keeper
I mean,
of
a kennel master.
a kennel master.
Yeah, in a hyperbolic sense.
yeah, a
So
keeper
a
of the
secret
monster.
society helmed
They are
by
the keeper of the
yeah,
monster.
helmed by
Who let the dogs out? The village knows. Only they know.
yeah.
Only they can answer that question.
I don't have to be here.
I like that.
Oh, but we
I
like
know,
each
I'm just
other.
I'm just being
Despite the
silly.
fact that we're all, very disoriented about what's going on Wednesday nights, we are actually all buds.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, with the other one, was it that the secret society was like coming to town?
They were
Society is gathering.
Gathering.
Town. So
Okay.
like, they're not. That's the thing we're kind of running into is like,
Right.
We can change it however we want to fit the story that we're kind of coming up with. This is just origin, like your origin point.
But an interesting thing to think about
Mhm.
is if the head of this society is the
Kennel
kennel
master.
master.
That's a badass
That-
name in the context.
They don't
Yeah.
necessarily live in the town, but they are either the involved in trapping the monster there or like charged with
Can I
Yeah.
pitch?
it there.
Can I pitch an idea that kind
Please.
of fits into that? I think because we're kind of dealing with now a protracted timeline.
Yeah.
The secret society that's gathering is the second generation of the original conflict. It's
Yes.
the
Yeah.
kids who were like born into this family, got
Yeah.
charged with protecting this creature. They've somehow gone. Somehow they've been scattered to the winds by choice or by necessity. But the kennel master has now called them all back to strengthen their numbers.
I'd even say grandkids. Great grandkids.
Yeah,
it could be
sometimes-
however many generations.
Yeah, like a couple of generations down, because then, it's that knowledge of, if they all stayed necessarily in the village all the time, it would be hard to do, but they need to be recalled when this cycle starts up again.
So here's a wrench to throw into all of this.
What?
I know. It'll be confusing
Scott,
as
you're a
hell
wrench.
because I'm gonna do what I did with my world map and flip it entirely upside down.
No,
which
Scott.
is why
Don't be confused.
I know I'm still confused.
Which
Upstream
way
is
did the rivers
downstream.
Upstream is downstream.
But you could look at it. What if the secret society? What if these were the good people? So the kennel master is
Yeah.
actually the leader of a good faction. This seer, who this thing that he wants to do, wants to foil their schemes, but it will cause a cataclysm. What if the keeping of this creature? They are keeping this creature because if they don't keep the creature, almost like Cabin in the Woods, they're doing these horrible things, but in order to stop something far more horrible from happening.
That's more honestly what I was starting to think.
I think that's where we've been working.
That's where it's been
towards.
going. It's been moving that direction.
Yeah.
So I suppose the question would then be, is you could look at it in one of two ways. Either the kennel master and his people are just mistaken good guy, like they're good guys but doing horrible things, or they could be good guys doing good things, and this is the villain. I'm not saying.
I like the arc of if they're the gatekeepers of this thing that eats hope, they're maybe the people who are the least hopeful in the world, and so like
Yeah.
that arc of their noble cause leads to their like being tainted, like turning into the villain.
Yeah.
And a cycle like that with this guy coming back from 500 or 100 or one generation, doesn't matter, but like that cycle is interesting to me where there isn't a good guy or bad guy. It is just like part of that cycle of life.
And there's
I agree with the moral
weird,
greatness. That's what I want.
like, I'm trying to find the words. There's like pros and cons to both. Like, yeah, the society is not good or bad necessarily. Kind of like you said, they do bad things to help a really bad thing from happening, but also like doing bad things is still doing bad things.
And what if all of society across the continent or the region needed a little less hope? Like, maybe they thought climate change might be okay. Like, is there
And
a
we've
no-
lost the moral
is-
grayness
is
right there.
is
Right
there
out
a-
the window.
Is there a noble thing that could come from this cataclysm that would happen if the seer is successful? Is what I'm
Right,
getting at.
I
It's
guess
like, is there a
then-
lesson that society needs to relearn? And does, like, the village that knows needs some hope back? And they're, like, just suffering? But, you know.
I also think that there's. Oh, I just had it. Hold on. Ah,
Take your time.
I think that there is something. I think that there's a thing that's missing right there with that, which is what would be gained if the monster got free, because I don't think that
Right.
this works otherwise, because this person has to think they're doing the right thing.
That's where I was getting at. It's
Yeah,
like, what,
so we're
like,
missing-
would society learn a lesson with a little less hope? Like, a little more reality, with a little less, like, blind ignorance, and a little bit more knowing.
See, I think there's another side to the monster we're missing.
Ooh, okay. And Scott, do we have a way to build on the monster?
Hey Scott, let's build on the monster.
I mean, yes, but it also is random.
Well, we could just talk about the monster, I guess.
Could. I'm wondering if I go grab the lore master's
Lore
deck.
Master?
You know what? Let me grab that and see.
See if that helps us out.
Yeah.
So go check out.
have a
Actually,
thought.
really quickly,
I have a
I'm just
thought
gonna
on
give a
monster.
quick. This is just me being. Oh yeah, thank you. This is just me being, like your friendly nerd here. So once again, this stream is not sponsored. The Story Engine folks are lovely human beings who did not sponsor this show. But if you want to go check it out, they have a sample that is going to be given out by friendly local game stores who are participating in Free RPG Day, which is this Saturday, June 21st. So call up your friendly local game store, give them a ring. You can't do this at big box stores. You can't do this at a Target or a Barnes & Noble. This is only happening at your friendly brick and mortar shop. And they have got a little sampler deck that they're giving out. So go check it out. I know that they are having some stock issues right now, so they're out of the base Story Engine at the Story Engine website, but they are doing some restocks later on. And you can still get the Deck of Worlds and the Lore Masters deck and all the expansions. So just, this is just me, if you want to check out what we're doing, I'm a big fan. We here at the Adventurers Pack are big fans of supporting local, supporting your local business, especially a lot of these businesses, are getting hit right now with a lot of the things happening in the world. So go
And
check
also,
them out.
this is a small company. I believe it's 3 people.
It is 3 people.
And your friendly local game store is probably a small company too.
They're
so
probably
if you
also
can't make
3
it
people.
to Free RPG Day, or you're not interested in Deck of Worlds, like, still go support that friendly local store. because,
Yeah,
they probably need it.
they probably do.
What if they're not friendly?
Well then.
Go
they
find
don't
a
fit the
friendly
bill.
one. Yeah, go find a friendly one. It's very important, especially in nerd spaces. There are some less
Yeah.
than friendly ones. Make sure you find a friendly one. There are those. They exist, and they are. Community is important right now with everything happening out there. So go make some community, friends.
So before we bust that out, I just have a pitch on this monster and how to kind of like fit all of these pieces together. And what if the village that knows are the only people who know that this monster is made up, and that it is a tool used to keep society in check? It does eat the hope, because it, like, everybody lives in a little bit of fear of, well, what if we're not good? And so by foiling the scheme, the seer would actually be telling the world that this is all a lie, which could cause a great cataclysm if the rules that bind society were to just be erased overnight, and what people do to each other.
But then what? Oh, so is that the massacre?
That would be the massacre.
Okay.
See,
Like,
I still like the idea of the fact that the monster exists, but maybe
It was the monster inside of us the whole time.
that's what I'm getting at, because it does exist. If it eats, like, it is everything in the world that is dark, that
So-
takes away our
I
hope.
So the
just-
monster is a MacGuffin.
yeah,
I was thinking more. It's like God, like more like how the organized religion.
You heard it here, folks. God is a monster.
Hey.
God,
Some people
see, for me,
pray to a spaghetti monster in the sky,
I mean,
and they're
yeah.
all right.
for me, it's more. I imagine that there's something that would happen if the monster got out that would be good.
Right. I'm having trouble answering that problem
Yeah.
when it's eating hope.
I know. But I feel
Uh-huh.
like there's something there.
Else?
I just
Something
don't know
else?
what it is. Let's look at the lore
Is
masters.
it is it the sort of thing that it is devouring hope to grow, but once it has consumed enough hope, it's acting as an incubator and essentially will erupt.
Breathe more hope.
Yeah, so almost like a Nazca, the Valley of the Wind, where the
like the
poisoned forest was there. It was destroying things, but in an effort to cleanse, so then life could erupt once again.
That could work. That could work.
So, the Lore Masters deck, as you can see, it's bigger than the other two. And this, you have a few things that you can work with. You have options for factions, figures, events, locations, objects, materials, creatures, and modifiers for all of these. Now, you might be thinking locations,
Creatures.
but deck of world. So this is a lot more ocean, watchtower, repository, like single things that you can sort of drop and connect
Waypoints,
together.
yes.
Does it make sense that we already kind of have a creature? We just need features for it.
So that's going to be something that I think is we can tie a little more to the story engine itself, because creatures that show up in this box are going to be
new monster.
well, and it's also going to be your options range anywhere from Hydra to Slug. So it is meant to not necessarily be an entire creature.
I would say a giant slug might fit because it'd be.
I like a giant.
Yeah. Well, and like if it's devouring hope, everybody's salty.
Also, Zagmeister, yes, we all pray to Banjo. I would love to be a cleric of Banjo. Absolutely. Get me
Like
the
the
shirt.
kazooie?
No, it's from
Yeah.
a web comic.
Oh.
It's I see you, Zag.
I thought
Yeah.
Kazooie.
Oh
No.
my god!
Banjo
See, you
and
would love
kazooie.
You would love
Order of the Stick.
Oh my
Okay.
god! I haven't thought about that comic in so long. They're still going, aren't they?
Yeah, they
Yes,
are.
and I am
Jeez.
behind.
It is a
I feel behind.
Dungeons and
High
Dragons
school.
comic that we were reading in college. You were
College.
reading in high school.
I was reading in
No.
high school.
Okay.
No, college.
They were
But
going strong by like the end of high school.
It
and I
is.
fell off.
It is really good. But yeah, the guy who's been writing it has taken a very long time to write it. When he started writing it, he was writing it during the transition from second edition to third edition.
yeah, the very first comic strip is, oh hey, we just got the 3.5 update. I'm like, so that's how old it is.
yeah, and it's still going.
That's wild.
It's very good for stick figures. It's painfully good for look at the stick figure.
Isn't that where the
comic.
meme came from? Was like you've been crawling through the dungeon, you finally find the hidden chest, and they open it, and it's just like it's a blank scroll, and people like fill in their own.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I might have to look it up. I'm doing a terrible
Sure,
job.
generated a lot of memes.
describing
I know what you're talking about, though.
But I do know the puppet banjo.
One of my
Puppet God
personal
Banjo.
favorites. Yeah, so the Bard, very low intelligence score, to the point that he is convinced that if you take off your heavy armor, you're better at sneaking. And so he's convinced that if you take off everything, you're invisible. So he's running around
One of
naked.
those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the joke is that we can't do this. Like the sensors will shut us down, and then
Yeah, especially
Is it
because there's a
Haley?
Haley,
The
there's a
Rogue.
woman in the party, and they're like, we're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna shut us down because he's running around naked around a woman.
so Haley the Rogue comes back, and the Roy the fighter is trying to just stop her from going to where. Oh gosh, Elon.
Elon, yeah, they're trying to like keep him.
And so the final line for her is, well, now that we've had this conversation, I'm going to go inside. I understand that Elon is running around naked, and I want to see what that 18 charisma is like under the hood.
Talk about pass without a chase, right?
So if we're
long were you sitting
looking
on
to
that?
do stuff for the monster, we can draw aspect cards. Because we can attach these to anything.
Yeah,
And let me go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw from the main deck. We have Arcane, Decoy, Vindictive, and Influential.
I mean, decoy is what you were talking about, but
Or vindictive also kind of works with the, but I like decoy.
Famous, durable, controversial, and swift.
I mean, he's known throughout the village. I wouldn't call him famous.
But they all, but also
Okay.
they're the village that knows.
Right,
No one
and
else
that's-
does.
yeah.
That's the point.
Right, not famous.
And one more, just to give us 12 options. Traumatic, revolutionary, gilded, and misunderstood.
I like all
I
four
like
of those better.
Misunderstood.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a part of me, and maybe it's just like stuff I've been consuming lately, but there's a part of me that's like, yes, this beast eats hope. But is there something, is there something else to like just the nature of caging a creature that is there to serve a purpose?
I think there has to be, because the purpose we've also left behind that it was there to prevent a war
Right.
part. We've lost that
Oh,
part.
yeah.
What if it devouring hope is a result of it being caged? It didn't do that before.
But nobody, but they don't know that.
But
They misattributed the monster.
They
like,
know,
the
but they
fault
don't know
to the
that.
They don't
monster.
know.
That works with everything we've kind of been throwing out there, because
Yeah,
if
let me
like
get some water.
it was mistakenly caged, but the secret society, the village that knows, they don't know the truth. They know what they think they know, which is that when they put this thing away, the war stopped or whatever, and they've upheld this as a secret society for generations. And the seer knows that they're actually just like putting this creature through misery and making the hope-eating monster worse.
I think
But when it
something
gets
that's kind
out-
of just kind of sprung to me is like I'm kind of playing off your idea of like something consuming so that it can then release it elsewhere. Like, what if this monster has a duality to it? Like we're kind of breaking into like a little bit of like interplanar things with this, where like it eats the hope of this area to give it to some
Right.
other
Like how
world.
Yeah.
a bird like spreads seed.
Yeah.
to new
So like
areas,
to
right?
the immediate vicinity of this thing, it seems awful to be around, but somewhere in another plane of existence, it's feeding hope to people who need it.
Or even if it's just moving through the region, because if it's like just passing through, a little bit of gut check, a little bit of like reality check to your hopium can be a good thing. But you don't want to sit with that, because then you lose all hope. But if that's just a passing moment and it's spreading that hope as it goes to new regions, like birds migrating will bring the seeds far and wide. But by keeping it cooped up, it's made it more dangerous. It's made it like detrimental to these people who think
Right.
they're doing the right thing.
I also think when it gets out, there's going to be a lot of pain before it
And
does any
Yeah.
good.
That's the cataclysm, right?
Because now
It will
it
wash
hasn't
out.
been, or maybe it doesn't have the ability to release it to wherever it needs to, so it's been essentially devouring but not giving out. And so,
It will eventually need to purge its system.
yeah,
Well,
and
if-
at the moment all it knows is the devouring part. Maybe it's forgotten how
Or
to do the release.
It's hungry. Like if this has been generations, this village has just lost all hope in humanity, all hope for like a
Or,
better
and
world.
honestly, maybe people left. Maybe the village is empty and the secret society is coming back because they were a part of this village and have to come back.
They come back, maybe they come back every so often to
Yeah.
let it feed on them.
Right.
Yeah, they literally
They
like
are-
they
There's
are
the nobility. Yeah.
they,
Right.
they travel the world to build themselves up,
So that they can be brought
accomplish
down.
amazing things,
Yeah.
so that they can then
This is where heroes go to die.
or to
Where their
like
dreams die.
Yeah.
yeah
Because
It's
they're
the
ones
Los
that
Angeles
know.
on the
Yeah.
mountains.
yeah.
Oh god. too real. I mean, this has all
Like-
been very real, but
I
I
kinda
like that, RJ. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
like that's the origin of this secret society, is like it's their life's mission to, I don't know, every calendar year or at some omen from the god who created the mountain that is
Yeah.
housing this thing. But then again, we're kind of coming back to like who, like what we're kind of building off the original origin of like why like a god raised this mountain to cage this beast. What does the god have against the beast?
We've also forgotten about our kennel master, because we.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it
we
didn't
got a
have-
little stuck
it
with
didn't
the
have to
monster
be
there.
God creating the mountain. If it was man creating a mountain in the prison, prison within the mountain, a cage within the mountain. That,
Well, if we're
like,
in
the kennel
the-
master, but
the world
Either
of
way.
D&D where like gods can also physically manifest. What if
Yeah.
the god is the Kennel Master?
Yeah.
And the Kennel
Yeah.
Master is his representation on the material
I
plane.
haven't seen any dragons yet. I'm just kidding.
RJ says, "Where are the dragons?"
Would it
Every
be-
game, where are these dragons? RJ says, "Be better with a dragon." No, I love it. Are you kidding me? We're kidding, but are we?
Uh-huh.
Does making and like have the prescience of a deity kind of undermine the game of maybe this is like a false prophecy? Maybe this ritual is actually like reinforcing something that the seer is trying to break, or is it the god just like lost his way too?
It could
I mean,
be possible.
doesn't have to be a good god.
It's true.
That's right.
It also could be a god who is also trapped on this plane as well.
They've lost their godhood and their hope.
Mm-hmm.
What if the what if the creature is a god?
Or at the very least, extremely powerful.
I was gonna say, if it's a god, how is it contained by mere mortals?
I was picturing like the Titans to the Olympian gods.
Yeah,
like they
like
came
a proto
before
proto
something
spirit.
more primal, but like that was ultimately contained.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it feels like a primal thing. This hope-eating monster, something on the level of a god, but that is fallible or containable.
Mm-hmm.
I like
I think
it.
the Kennel
like it.
Master. I think the Kennel Master is a title. It's kind of like the ongoing leader of the secret society.
I like that.
So it can so that is a title that can be passed down or earned via passed down via lineage, passed down via
right.
great feats accomplished, passed down diplomatically or politically or
Just
stuff like that.
combat. There
Yeah.
can only be one Kennel Master.
That the cool thing about like using this as a tool for inspirational like writer's block is
I
like,
like
you,
that.
you can then let other stories that are being created either with players or with other collaborators to then kind of fold in the Kennel Master's identity.
Another option that's out there is if this is happening every generation or every couple of generations, if it's the site of a massacre, what if the massacre is when everyone comes to have their hope taken, and the Kennel Master is the last remaining person from the last gathering,
The one who has to close the gate after.
the one who
everybody
had
leaves.
just a little bit of hope left,
Yeah.
and
The
that's the
Pandora
one
in
to
that
basically
moment,
then be
yeah.
in charge of the next.
So is that then is that an elected thing or is that just like
Whoever it happens
it's like we all show up we're all hoping to be the last one alive.
or maybe it's not even a hope. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
Like,
it's
aw,
like
man.
it's just whoever. Yeah, it's
Now
like
I'm
this was
the
the Kennel
Kennel
Master last time.
The most hopeful of them all.
Yeah.
Gets to like they earn that.
It's
by
kind of like
having the-
it's kind of like the dragons picking the dragon riders in House of the Dragon on
Yeah.
on HBO. So like
It does very much darken the like progression of this society if like just the last tiny shred of hope is left in the leader of all of these people for the next generation.
I mean look who you're talking to.
Hi.
So-
I like
Once
something
again,
there. I do like
Melos.
Kennel Master as like this title that is passed on or that is the fit of the leader of this regardless of what the relationship to the kennel is. There's lots of ways to
Lots of ways to go with it. I also think invoking like a Kennel Master also opens the door to multiple of these creatures being in the world and different flavors of them existing in the world and different. So like there could be lessons learned from each type of monster. Like let's say there's now 5 mountain ranges in this world. This one's the one that devours hope. Now over here there's one that devours other emotions or whatever. And then you have like that's like level 1 through 10 storylines. Then you realize, oh, now there's 5 other mountain ranges that we have to interact with, all kind of dealing with the same thing but slightly different. That's levels like 10 through 17.
Yeah, then the false hybrid definitely has it. For sure.
So, I'm kind of coming back to the summit. I mean, we know it's like the mountain, the village, but like I kind of feel like if you haven't established this, like there's something that is drawing the seer to a specific like pocket of the mountain range or whatever. I don't know if we need to flesh that out more, but like I kind of like having not only this like the seer drawn towards the mountain, but like maybe their intent wasn't originally like foiling the scheme of the secret society. It was some other like it was some other intent, and along the way they stumbled upon this knowledge or this vision came to them because they were headed in the right direction. You know, so like, is that the place? Like the summit, was that the place where they originally died? I think we said in the first like escape of the beast, and then like something was left behind there that they keep being drawn back to.
Scott,
Mhm.
the last one, the created to avoid war, is for the mountains. So if you, perfect.
I mean, and maybe this is just my Wyatt showing again, but like there's another definition of summit, and that is like a gathering of minds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if it's not about the summit of the mountain, but the summit that is held in the village,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
Interesting.
there you go.
which is drawing the seer in, because he wants to speak to this kennel master and his council.
Ooh, I like that.
And,
That's great.
and we also kind of established that the seer is either reincarnated or some kind of like
some sort of undead.
unknowing
Yeah.
undead, but he could have been raised, or he could have been, brought back for this purpose by a competing faction or resistance or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it could just be his past life that's given him the vision that he knows he needs to go.
Another adversary of the summit raised him from the dead.
I have a pitch for the name of that competing faction, the Bahamut.
It's already gone through chat.
Good job, chat. I'm proud of you.
But yeah, so all of that, I think it's very easy to see how.
And there's the dragon.
There's my dragon!
Yay!
It's just a mistranslation of Bahamut.
That was really good.
There we go.
Damn it.
There's my dragon. I can die happy.
On that note,
Did we win Story Engine?
We won!
We won the game, everybody. We won role-playing games. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
I love
I'm
you
very
all so
proud.
much.
Very proud of you, RJ.
But yeah, so that's the story engine, deck of worlds. Like I said, I just love this as a prompting thing because even it gives you so little, but you can spin so much with it.
Oh,
yeah.
And I like going into it with this idea that like there's no wrong answer, and
Totally.
Yeah.
because then from there just all sorts of things can happen. Ow. I know. I'm sorry. I need to test the sound. But yeah, once again, not a sponsored stream of theirs, but big shout out to the Story Engine. Y'all make amazing stuff. I know I am a big fan. I know Emmy did the shout out for everyone's friendly local game stores. Seriously, go support local. Go support friendly local. It's super important because those are places of community. Those are without places like that, we wouldn't be able to make stuff like this. And
Yep. We picked up the Story Engine at our friendly local game store. We picked up a lot of this from our friendly electronic stores. Games like this thrive because it's, we were talking about earlier about how much we all, actually really, we were doing the funny ha-has, but we do actually really love each other, so.
Yeah.
Gross.
Support analog. Analog is on its way back.
Yeah. This-
In-studio microphones, card
Yeah.
games,
This
playing in
is
person.
so
board
much
games.
more fun than talking to ChatGPT, and it costs so much less water.
Yeah.
So,
I could use some more water.
And we're all collaborative storytellers here as well as gamers, and like this was really powerful for me, I think, to sit at the table and just tell a story that doesn't have stakes with
Yeah.
you guys. So I would love to do this again sometime
Heck yeah.
for either another tech test or just like a one-off. But I'd also be curious to hear what the audience has to say
Yeah.
about these,
Yeah, honestly-
this story, this world, and maybe we keep building off of this next time we
Yeah.
we come back.
Do a one shot.
Well, and also, if any of you all do end up picking out or grabbing the freebie deck of worlds from your FLGS, feel free to take pictures of the stuff that you make. Tag us on any posts that you might do. Also tag Story Engine. There you can find them on all socials.
Again, they're lovely.
Actually, the way I found out about them was a very targeted Instagram ad that
Yep.
was
That's how
like,
they get you.
Sounds about
yeah,
right.
but boy, they got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do that. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll be back with more of this. Maybe we'll flesh out a whole region. You could, yeah, we can play with it a little heavier. Just to give you all a quick taste on some of these expansions.
The names are so good.
For the deck of worlds, we've got Worlds of Chrome and Starlight, which is science fiction. Worlds of Frost and Fable for the Arctic. Worlds of Myth and Magic for fantasy.
Yes, that's right up my alley.
Worlds of Sand
Dragons!
and Stone for deserts. And then these I like.
Ooh.
Heroes Quests and Fool's Errand Adventure Prompts expansion.
Oh.
Fresh Ink and Ancient Song for lore fragments.
You didn't mention the first one.
No, that was the first one that I.
I thought
yeah,
you-
well, no, I mentioned it way earlier.
Oh, you
on.
mentioned it way
The Worlds
earlier.
of Blight and Shadow for
Yeah.
horror.
That's I just like
Worlds
that name.
of Tide and Tidings for coastline stuff. And the Shared Hearts and Common Creeds,
It's very
cultural keyholes.
Ooh.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
And then for the story engine itself, in addition to the Written in Dragonfire, you've got Written in Blood and Alibi for mysteries, Humble Roots and Epic Origins for backstories, Written in the Light of Strange Worlds for science fiction,
That's just so cool.
Written in Ash and Bone for horror,
That's
and
just
Enchanted
so neat.
Items and Cursed Curios for magical items.
Love that.
And then
You
there's
gotta
a
add a
bunch
lot
of
of that
little
to this.
mini expansions. I lied when I said I own all this. There's like 2 that I don't own. I don't own the superhero expansion because
Ooh.
I didn't feel a need for it myself. But I also know where I can get it. But you've got the Empty Graves and Haunted Halls, that is Gothic, Wastelands and Wanderers for post-apocalyptic, Dropships and Warhawks for military, Outlaws and Gunslingers for westerns,
Oh yeah.
Jackboots and Chainlink for dystopian, Cog Hearts and Steam Souls for steampunk, Dark Crafts and Ancient Horrors for eldritch horror, Circuits and Cybernetics for cyberpunk, and one of my favorites, Mythwalkers and Eternals for mythology.
You combine like the Sanded Stories and some of those like sci-fi ones, and some of your like into like
You can do.
There's
steampunk. You got
a
Yeah,
lot of just
there's a lot of-
really cool stuff.
Well, because I
here.
remember I was there when you were picking up a few of the little boosters, and you were asking me. I remember you were like, "Well, which one should I get for working on Melos?" And I was like, "Well,
a little.
a lot of several of those. You could get the I know initially you're like, well, I don't need the cyberpunk one. And I was like, we're walking around with a robot, and it's
And
you
an
know,
AI book.
Yeah.
Essentially.
yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, it's a fairly steampunk robot, but. And then there's, our compatriot Bogdan, who's got a robot arm.
Yeah.
And the Wastelands and Wanderers, the world ended. The jackboots and chain link fence were under lockdown.
I don't like that I got that
So like that's kind of the beauty of, I mean, not to brag on Scott, but to completely brag on Scott. That's the beauty of the world you built. It's very
It's a lot
vibrant
of
and
different
full. It's a lot of
things.
different things. But it's also why the mix and matchability of prompt things like this is just, it's nice. It makes it feel very vibrant. It doesn't make you feel like you're just kind of tucked into one corner.
I think that's also kind of the beautiful part about like being creative and like trying to make different pieces fit together is like when you just shove things together and don't like put the work into making them connect and form and like feel cohesive, it's not going to be cohesive.
Yeah.
But like if you can build the connective tissue, you can connect any idea, even if it's not like, even if it's sci-fi and old fantasy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, on that wonderful note, it's getting hot in here, everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to get going. Thank you for joining us for this tech stream and just hanging out and doing some stuff. Next time you see us, microphones are going to be on the table. That actually reminds me, we should probably announce here and now, and a couple of you, this will be news too. There will not be a Gauntlet this Friday because the tavern is going to be occupied with other tech things that are
Yeah.
building adjacent. So
Yeah, the building the tavern is in is getting some stuff happening to it.
we
and,
dealt with cables today, and Friday they're going to be dealing with tubes.
Yeah.
So
Fun.
Wires and pipes.
exactly, wires and
So-
pipes. So we unfortunately will not see you on Friday, and it's the last week of the month. So
Yeah, we'll be off for a little
we'll
bit.
see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Oh, and then also we are taking the 4th of July off.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I forget if we're taking that first opening week
No,
or
we're
just
not-
the
we're
4th
just
off.
taking
It's
the
just
fourth.
the
Yeah,
fourth.
so we'll be
Stay tuned
back.
to social.
Yeah, we'll be back for Melos.
We'll
then.
be back. We'll be back.
Okay.
But thank you all for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Have a great end of your month. We'll see you around. Bye, everyone.
Bye.